good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose?
We're pulling live from the other side of America. Mama let me sip the 40. I was just a shorty. Then I started spitting garlic, and they said record me. I feel like this shit was for me. This shit is my story. Jump out the porch, I got a Porsche, no take it back. I'm on the block with the killers and holding my own, of course, yeah. I see my mom and dad separate, ain't talking divorce. Said daddy was living by the fire, and he died by the torch. I'm where the AKs is, we like the baby kids. AM and daddy, I listen to something the same way that Ray did. I'm throwing switches and HKs, and I just was a grade A kid. Ain't no guy, we grew up with hitters and did everything they said. Put on the block, we spinning that. Running the spot, we getting that. Give us some work, we flipping that. I'm here from Jenna, ain't hit it back. I need a lawyer, money for commissary, ain't nobody ain't sending that. I'm in my cell, like when I get out, I'm making a movie, no Cinemax. Who? Yeah. Back home and I'm fresh on bell. Phone chirping, it was next to tell. Block popping, it was extra cell. Big dog, they ain't showing remorse. I was begging just to catch a cell. Same block, we was going to war. I was praying I ain't catch a shell. Hey. Ooh. We ain't starting for 1,000 nights. Living like we trying to die tonight. Got 40 cent like dynamite. I was fucking up my car money. Selling soap like it's trying to.
Welcome back, guys. Hello everyone, it's your boy Kosi Dev, still on our app, our to-do app. Try to create it big, make it big. Yeah, and I'm trying to make sure that we get everything working and making sure the audios are quite okay before we can actually jump in and start doing our real coding, normal coding stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that okay guys, welcome back everyone. Welcome back to the new episode, which is episode 6. Basically, yeah, episode 6 building Dona to do this app. We are still have a long way to go. Yeah, we're currently been trying to get one or two stuff working, but currently right now we have a way to add to dos, which is working, but we are just adding to dos locally, because if kind of like after adding the to dos and you review the app, the to dos goes away, it's not steady, and these are only dummy to dos at the moment. So all these one are dummies, so it doesn't work. So you can actually see that. So if you say go home, I'm trying to add this to do. So let's say we say go home, hit the enter key, you see the to dos being added. If you go ahead and restart the page, then you come back again, you can actually see that to do goes away, it's no longer there. That's because we are just adding it on the fly, and it's just persisting it on a local variable, which is our local list variable. So we are not saving it somewhere in our app, or we are not using a file DB or file database, any other stuff to save it. Yeah, that's why you can see it whenever we refresh our app or restart our app. Yeah. So yeah, before we go more into what we are going to do, so if you haven't subscribed, guys, try to subscribe to the channel and just hit the subscription button and also the bell button to keep notified on whatever I'll be posting, I'll be doing next. I have a whole lot of stuff coming up next. Just keep on supporting me, guys. And yeah, also guys, to announce to you, also we have our app ready to be launched, which is the store app we have been creating. So most of you already know that that's actually a real product I'm building, but I'm trying to also build it live with you guys, so you guys can actually learn from it. I'll be launching the main app, and if you're in UAE, also try to support us. And basically this is the Instagram account, so go to the Instagram account on the website and support me there. So the website is called on acid.cosidev.com. Yeah, so there's a landing page of the app, so go there and support me, guys. So you can get all your gift product from there, all your gift items, get it from the app on the fly. Anybody that's in UAE, whatever you are in UAE, we deliver to any place in UAE. All your gift items, you can order it from there. We are trying to build more into the app, both social interactions. We are going to see how that works, but we are kind of like iterating through the idea. So looking forward to seeing you guys on the platform also. Yeah, go to the landing page, support me. Also visit the Instagram page, and also support me on Instagram page. So this is our Instagram page at the moment. So go there and support me, guys. So back to what our business and yeah, the business we have to do, which is basically trying to get this to do app to actually work. Let's go ahead and kind of like start off by adding our to-dos, make that to work first. And to do that, we need to install some packages because we'll be using some database. And the database I'll be introducing to you guys is called ESADB. I don't know if most of you have heard about it. Let me get some stuff here. So ESADB. So ESADB is a flutter and that's database you can actually use on your flutter apps and all those stuff, and it's called ESADB. So basically it's a NoSQL database. ESA NoSQL, from those of you that are familiar with NoSQLs, like yeah, a crazy fast NoSQL database. For those of you that were familiar with MongoDB, Firebase, and yeah, a whole lot of them. So this one is for you guys. So it's called ESADB, and it's kind of, I haven't tried it before. I'm trying to try it out on this project. So this, to refer, this will be my first time trying the project. I'm trying out the DB with the yeah, for the first time trying out the project. What am I even trying to say? So the first time trying out the project, so I'll be doing it with you guys. Hope you actually get it to work and try to see what we can actually achieve with it. So it's called ESADB, and this 3.0.5 version. And yeah, so I've kind of gone through the documentation. They actually have quite a lot of stuff over there. I'm really excited to actually try stuff out. Yeah, this is basically all about them. You can go through their documentation and read more about ESADB and other stuff. But let's go straight in here. So over here in our code, these are code right in here. So this is for web clients. So I'm going to create another one. We are going to implement to do repository, which is our abstract class. And this one we are before we do that, let's go ahead and first of all install all the stuff we need for our ESADB to work. So for ESADB, so they want us to install all this stuff: flutter pub add ESA and ESA flutter libs libraries. So go ahead and copy that first command and paste it in here, then hit the enter key. It will just go ahead and install everything for you. Next, copy the second command that we have right in here, and then head over to your app, flutter project, clear this, paste this in, and then hit the command key. We'll go ahead and install all this also. And I think we are done with this. So let's go ahead and start setting this up. First of all, I'm going to create, inside our repository, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this models. Call this DB models. I think that would make sense. DB underscore models dot that. Go ahead and save this. There you go. And for our DB models, we are going to create a model, not exactly the same stuff we have here, but similar models that we currently have here at the moment. So we are going to create a model for that. Our to-do is going to have a test, which I will say a task right there. It will have a task. No, it's not pre-recorded. It's actually live. SR is not pre-recorded. I'm actually doing all this live. Yeah, go ahead and drop your comment, your stuff on the chat. I'm going to be looking at the chat also. I'm live. Yeah, we are live, not pre-recorded. So right in here, So let's go ahead. So it's going to have our to do is going to have a task written like this, and it's also going to have a date, an icon, and also what else do we need? Yeah, an icon and completed. So most of all this is what is going to also have. So let's go ahead and create that. I'm going to open this up. First, let's set up our models for our InstaDB right in here. So I'm going to say inside here, create a model for to-dos. So I'm going to call that to-dos, to-dos.dat. There you go. Yeah. Once you actually create this and have all this working, so you can actually go ahead and start adding what I want our model to look like, and we're going to be using theirs to actually cross-check what we are doing, because this is my first time trying the database. So let's take a look and see what we can actually do. So first of all, in that documentation, once you got all this stuff set up, you can actually yeah, you're welcome, SR. So next stuff is to go ahead and start creating the classes. So we need to create the classes and all those stuff. So let's create the classes. Over here they created a collection, as collection, and linked rules. You mean flutter linked rules? I'm using flutter that links. So yeah, analysis options and those stuff. Basically called flutter linter to linter, kind of like create a rules to follow and all those stuff. Yeah, that's actually added to you when you're using the latest flutter to bootstrap your app. So I don't think you need to go ahead and add those linked rules for flutter. It's already added. It will be automatically added to your project. Yeah. So yeah, basically over here, let's go ahead and okay, yeah, okay. Now you mean the file renaming? Yeah. In Flutter, you don't name your file starting with a capital T. Yeah, you actually start with small letters and then a dash. So let's say the words are too much. You want to separate the words one after the other. So you don't do something like capital T. You don't do something like keys then value. You just do keys underscore value underscore storage. Everything will be in small letters, like what we have here. Let's say we want to name this to do students, so that would be to do's underscore. So let me actually show you guys. So it will be to do's underscore, then it will be students right in here. If I want to say to do students, so this is naming rules in Flutter. So those are stuff you have to follow. Yeah, that's part of it. So let's go ahead and start creating this. So over here in the documentation, they ask us to create something called at collections, and in this case my collection is called to do collection. So let's go ahead and create our to do collection. So I'm gonna say class is a class, and it's going to be called, the class name is going to be called to do. There you go. And since ASA is going to generate some files for us, so I'm going to say path. This should be part of to do dot g generated files, which should contain our schemas for accessing our class and working with our class. So that should be part of to do's dot g dot dat, and we are going to see how this works when we run the command to generate our files for us. And then we have to annotate this as collection. So we are just to specify that this should be a collection. Yeah, and then I'm going to say it's going to have an ID should be equals to ASA dot auto increment. That's the ID. And next, let's go back and see what else we actually need to add. So the next stuff we need to add is basically so we created all this. So our to-do should have, our to-do should basically have, let's see what it should have. Come on. actually make sense if I name this to do models. Yeah, to do model, just name it to do model. I think that makes sense. And then I can rename the file to say to do model, because we already have a file called to do. It doesn't make sense to say to name another ones. We say to do's model, or you should remove the s to say singular. Yeah, to do model, and then this should say to do model, and this should be path of underscore to do model dot g dot dat. And inside here, so what should our to do have? So basically our to do should have a name like what we have in here. So to do entity should have, our to do should have a complete ID and note and all those stuff. So let's go ahead and add this stuff in here. So I'm just pasting, I'm copying those stuff to actually be faster. So paste what we have, go ahead and delete. So it should be a boolean, and this should be a string. We don't need an ID again, we already have an ID. So this should be a string, and likewise this should be a string. So you're going to say boolean complete note task. We can actually make this to be optional. Should it be optional? It doesn't have to be optional, so we can actually set that to be false, set that being false, or we can actually say that this should be optional. And then the task, the same, note should be optional, task actually make that to be optional also, and complete should be false, startup being false, and other stuff. So can actually go ahead and save this. So this is how to create a collection with ASADB. So we actually created a collection at the moment. Right now we need to create another collection, which will be our to-do list, because we have a to-do, we should also have a to-do list likewise too. So let's go ahead and do that in here. So for our to-do list are basically this that we have here. So these are called lists in our to-dos. So if you minimize this, for those of you who have been following along, so it gets to this smallest device, it goes out. So these are called lists that we currently have. So I'm going to create a model for that, because we're going to still be saving that inside our DB. And I'm going to say to do underscore list, to do underscore list dot that. There you go. To do underscore list dot that. And now we need to create a class for this. I'm going to name this to do list. Come on, go. And this should be path of to do list, not to do model, but basically part of to do list, the same name as the current file, and then .g, capital by closing it. And then we can just say annotate this to be a collection, add annotation, recognizes this as a collection, add the ID. I'm going to say ID is equals to asa.auto increment ID. That's what we are going to use. There you go. And next we can actually say list should have a name, likewise what we have here. A list should have a name, so this should be a string, and it's going to be optional. Name of the list. A list should also have an icon. The icon could be color, icon could be color or all this stuff. We could actually say, okay, a color emoji, and what else? Color emoji, and I think that's all. Our list only have a color and emoji, because you can actually check that out here. Yeah, you can already have a color and emoji. That's all the stuff you can use for the icons of your list. So let's go back. So we have these to do. So let's say it should have a color, or we could just name that icon, just say string, string. This should be called icon. The icon name or the color name or whatever. Then I can actually, another one should be icon type. Icon type. Yeah, so we can actually know if the icon is a color or the icon is an emoji to know what we can actually display right over there. Okay, I think that's it. And then we need to create a relationship. So this is where it gets interesting in ASADB, because currently right now our ASADB, we can only, there's a way to create a relationship and link stuff together, and that's where it comes to use what we call linking. So let's go to this path. So a teacher, so basically if you have been working with SQL or MongoDB or all those stuff, you can create a relationship between two models whereby you can say that a student can have multiple teachers or a teacher can have multiple students. So those are called relationships and between models and all those stuff. But in our own case, we want a list. So a list will just basically have multiple teachers in our own case. Yeah, not teachers, I'm making a mistake. So basically a list. So what they have right in here, and we are going to flip it. We are just flipping the name, nothing much. We're just changing the name to actually match to what we want it to do. Yeah, so what they have right there, I'm going to say this. A student can have multiple teachers, so I'm going to say to-do list can have multiple to-dos. So that will be, in this case, I'm going to say final to-dos should be equals to ASA link. Use ASA links. So we're going to use ASA links. ASA links of type to do model. Yeah, ASA link of type to do model, and then cap this off and then import this to do model also. We need to import that. DB models, yeah, that's cool. There you go. What else do we need to do? Trying to see. And okay, we actually need to create a backlink. So over here also we have to do the same right in here. We can actually say a to-do can have multiple, to-do cannot have multiple lists. To-do can only be in one list. So you can't have the same to-do in a multiple list. So it doesn't make sense to have the same type of to-do, or else you want to recreate it in here or you move it in here, but it cannot be here and also be at the same place inside here. So that's what we mean by to-do cannot have multiple lists. So we have to create that relationship here. So I'm going to say final to-do model. I have to-do list. To-do list should be equals to ASA links, but in this case we are going to use ASA link. We are just linking to one, and this link is going to be to-do list. Do we misspell it? Yeah, it should be to-do list. Just copy that over and use that right in here. Paste that, and basically go ahead and cap this off, close it, and then import this. There we go. And I'm going to say so right now we have this working like this. So I'm going to create a backlink to link this in here. I'm going to copy this. So over here I'm going to say at backlink link to this to-do list. There you go. And let me explain that. So in ASA, there's what we call ASA link and ASA link. We have ASA link, we have ASA links, and we have backlinks. So let's start with ASA link. So ASA link basically means creating a relationship, one-way relationship. So in this case, we can actually say a teacher. So this teacher is a collection, and we are creating a link inside here. So we are saying a student can only have one teacher. Understand? It can only be linked to one teacher. That's kind of basic understanding to that. And yeah, that's why it's called a link. You already link to one. You can actually see can contain no or one related object. You see that can contain no or one related object, and it can be used to express a to one relationship. So to one relationship, it can only have one teacher. And then we have another one called a links. So a links means that a student can have multiple teachers. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, but in modeling, in data modeling and data relationship and databases, a model can actually have example will be if you are creating a chat app. Not a chat app will not be the perfect one. Okay, let's say you are creating an app like Facebook where people can have a post and have multiple comments. So you can say an author, someone that's going to write a comment, can have a multiple comments. So that's kind of relationship we are creating here. So we are saying a student can have multiple teachers. So that's what this is saying. And then last one, we have the backlink. So the backlink means basically saying a teacher can have multiple students, but that backlink, it has to link to a place where we call a teacher, where we specify the teacher in the student. Basically, two students have something called teacher, where it's actually linking to multiple teachers. In this case, now a teacher also is linking to multiple students, but it has to create a backlink to a variable within the student that is called teacher. In our own case, we want a to-do list to have a multiple to-dos, and it has to create a backlink to a variable inside to-do that is called to-do list, something like this. Yeah. So go ahead and save all this stuff. Next off, let's see if there's something else we need to add. If not, you can just go ahead and run our command and start trying things out. Is there any stuff I'm missing? Am I missing anything? Okay, we have auto increment. I should have a to-do list. We should have a name, icon type, and multiple to-do lists, and also the same with to-do mode there. Okay, completed note task, and also this. Okay, I think we are good to go. So go ahead and save this, then open our terminal. So I'm going to go ahead and open the terminal right in here and run some code right away. So let's go ahead and run this code. We could get the code from within our DB. So he wants us to run this code within Flutter to generate our model schemas and all those stuff. So we need to generate the model schemas and all those stuff. So paste this in our terminal and hit the enter key. That code will just go ahead and generate everything that we need. Okay, there we go. I think that was our generator. You can actually see there's no longer an error on this path again. So if you go over here, you can actually see what is being generated. Over here in our file, our to-do list has a to-do generated code for schemas and all those stuff that we can actually use to query our DB. And yeah, you can actually see all those commands right in there for querying our DB. And also our to-do model has the same right over here also. So that's cool. We are good. So next one, and these two files, you don't need to edit them. So don't edit them whenever you're working on your app. Leave it as it is. If you want to change it, just run the same command again. Running this command will change whenever you make changes to your real model here. Running this command will just update your model to actually have the same properties. Yeah. So I think we are good to go. What else are we missing? Okay, nothing at all. I said that we need to create a new repository that we'll be talking with, and this repository will be called local DB. Called our local I should say DB underscore storage. Yeah, DB underscore storage dot, and we create a class that implements our abstract class called to do repository. Implements to do yeah, copy this. Looks like my ID is no longer suggesting codes to me. I don't know why. Yeah, just paste this and go ahead and import this. It's not even trying to import it. Oh, we made a mistake. So I should say class. This class name should be DB. DB. Let's say DB more, not DB storage. I think that should be a good name for it. DB storage. Yeah, implements our to-do repository, and then we can go ahead and start doing other stuff. So I can actually use capital letters in this case if you want. So DB storage. Yeah, let's go DB storage, and yeah, just leave it at that. And implements. I don't know why that is not giving me a correct underscoring for that. Use that implement keyword right in here. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Then go ahead and import this abstract class that we have currently here, and let's go ahead and implement all the functions that we need to be created from the abstract class. So make class, not make class abstract, but create two more variables or functions that are missing within this concrete class, because this concrete class is implementing our to-do repository, and it's going to implement a full working of this load to-dos and again save to-dos. So we have two of these working right here. So first of all, whenever this is being called, this will be called outside. We'll be using this in our, come again, wait a second. Yeah, we'll be using this in our repository right in here. So you can actually have local repository and to-do repository right in here. I think I need to add another one. Add another one, call this final to-do repository. We should have type, it should be of type of to-do repository, and call this DB or local DB. Let's just call this DB storage. Yeah, and now we need to initialize this right here. I'm going to say this should be require this dot DB storage. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Yeah, there you go. And once we get that, so we are going to say when this function is being called load to dos, we either return local storage or we just return web clients. In this case, we don't want to use local storage anymore. I think I could just go ahead and say return web clients. I can just not return web client, but return our DB storage. So say return wait DB storage dot load to dos. There you go. Now if you save this and head over to our app, which is right in here, it needs to it's going to throw some errors. Yeah, telling us that local storage repository needs one more property, and this second property is called DB storage. And inside our DB storage, we are going to be passing in our what's it called again, our database in here. So that's what we're going to be passing in here. So let's go, let's see, come down a bit and see how we're going to work with this right now. So over here, these are where we have our DB storage currently residing, and now we want to be able to pass our DB repository to that particular user to use and start calling all these functions and start using all these functions we have here. So I'm going to pass this to it, pass this function. Let's see. Yeah, instead of main of that, just need to pass import this. This is the DB storage that we're going to pass to it. So it just already needs to know about a DB storage, but it doesn't know what that DB storage does or any other stuff like that. Next, we need to go ahead and start working with what this our DB is going to do. So first of all, inside our DB storage right in here, But then we can just start implementing some functions that we need. The first one will be, we want this our DB storage to actually open a DB first. Okay, let me see. Second, okay guys, give me a moment. I'm trying to figure out some stuff. Okay, yeah, I think I found it. So right in here, we just move in there and first create some functions. So all these functions is going to be required a return for now, but we can actually do some dummy stuff to actually make sure that this is working as it should. But the dummy stuff is going to be coming from what we have right in here, to make sure our repository is actually getting access that it needs. Instead of DB storage, I'm basically going ahead and remove this, throwing uninterrupted error, and then return a to-do list right in there. And I'm going to say delay is going to be a duration, and this duration is going to be coming from milliseconds, and this should be 3000, and this requires this to be constant. So if we go ahead and save this right away, let's see if this DB storage is being used within our app or not. But we're just trying to test some stuff out right away. So let's go ahead and do this. So this first one, I'm going to rename this to say buy wine, to make sure this is being loaded, and then go ahead and restart our app. Yeah, there you go. I can actually verify that this has been loaded. You can actually see that buy wine for Dakati, and that's been loaded from our DB storage that we passed in here. So our app is making use of this DB storage without knowing what our DB storage is all about, because we are doing some kind of like, we are abstracting the whole stuff, and we are using a block pattern here where we are kind of like separating all our app parts into different concerns, where we have repositories. For those of you who have been following along, we have a repository, which is basically the data layer and all those stuff, and we have the models, we have the block, we are using the block talks directly to the data layer and all those stuff. So yeah, and the block doesn't know about the data layer, what the data layer is all about, but we already exposed this called local repository to it, which it knows about these two functions, which is load to dos and again save to dos. This is all you need to know. And over here in our DB storage, we are just passing a fake, we are sending a fake to dos to it, and not actually a real to dos to it. For us to actually get something to work right away, and we could say when this is being called, load to dos is actually called, and load to do is actually, when load to do is actually called, I'm going to go ahead over here and just say late, say late future of type ISA okay, yeah, feature of type ISA, and this is going to be ISA DB. Okay, so we have our SRDB right in here. We need a function to be, we need to call a function to actually initialize our SRDB when this DB storage is actually called, or we could actually initialize our DB outside somewhere, and then we could just go ahead and use the instance, but that doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm gonna have a function somewhere right below here. I'm gonna call this function, I'm gonna say future of type ISA and open create DB or say open DB, anyone. I'm gonna pass this to be async, and this is going to return a feature for us. And let's see, so in here I'm going to create a constructor for our DB storage. Once this is created, our DB storage is created inside the constructor, we just need to call this this command that's going to say DB is equal to create whatever is coming from, is being returned by create DB. There you go. Nice. And now inside here we can just start using ISA functionalities right here. So first of all, we want to create a DB or open a DB. I think creating a DB, calling it create DB doesn't make any sense. Can I just call this open DB? Okay, we need to rename this also. Call this open DB. Now we can actually say check for ISA instance. I'm going to say ISA dot instance names dot is not empty, or check if it's empty. So if the database, if there's no currently an instance current in our machine, or the user is currently open the app for the first time, so we have to go ahead and return, create a new instance of our ISA. So basically say return await ISA dot open passing in here schemas that we want to open. So so this point I need to explain some stuff. So whenever we create a model for our ISA DB, and then we run this command the previous command that we run, which is this command. Whenever you run this command, it's going to generate, like I said, it's going to generate some code for us, which includes a schema for all our models. Our model is going to generate a schema for it. So once that is generated, we can just start using the schemas right in here. I'm going to say to do model schema. You see that, comma. After to do model schema, I'm going to create to do list. Is that a spelling? I think it's called to do list schema. Okay, I think we need to find that. To do list. To do underscore list G. Okay, yeah, it should be that. To do list schema. Let's see. Yeah, okay, yeah, that works well. So yeah, that's actually generated for us. So we have to do model and then to do this schema. So we currently have these two schemas right in here. We're going to add another property called inspector. Say open inspector to be true, and then close this off. Also add a comma right in there, and this function will be called right at the top over there. And once that is being called, we are going to go ahead and return over here, return if there's already an instance of our ISA DB already. So we're going to go ahead and return something like future value, come on, dot value, that will be ASA db.instance of this get instance. That kind of like finish stops kind of like clears the error that we're having at the top over here, because basically we have this function right at the top here. I think I just move it down, and then we can just go through the whole function and explain what we're doing. I just move it down below. Yeah, so we have a feature that returns an instance of an answer. We are calling the function to be the name OpenDB, and it's actually a synchronous function. And first of all, when this function is being called whenever this repository is being created. That means whenever a repository and a class is being created, its constructor is actually being created and called also. It's going to be called in there, and it's going to be assigned to this variable right here at the top. So we are saying once this function is being called, first of all, check if the user already have an instance of ISA within their app. If they don't, go ahead and create a new one with these two schemas. But if they have, go ahead and return the current instance they have. So that's basically what the function is doing. We could actually go ahead and try this. Restart our app. So I'm going to stop the app from running, and then we can just restart the app again. So say run without debugging. Okay, I think that's working. Let's see what happens. Okay, did we receive any error? Okay, we didn't have any errors so far. And let's go ahead and start working on this. So far so good. And I think this should actually open yeah, so instance. So you can just copy this out, copy that, and then head over to, where is it again? So this is our ISADB local. This browser is not supported. Okay, we need to open this in a Chrome, so it doesn't support our current browser. So let's get a Chrome browser up and running. There you go. So you can actually see our DB. This is our ISADB up here, inspector. So the ISADB inspector is up. You can actually view any data. So you can just add data and all those stuff. Let's see. Yeah, create an object. So you can actually create a model for to-do model, and also create a model for to-do list. So yeah, I think that's it. So basically, whenever we add a model, we can actually be able to view the model in here, something like that. So you can actually go, let's test creating a model for now. Let's see. Okay, it already created a model automatically for us, and you can just copy the JSON file for this, and we can actually also edit it. So I can actually set this to be false, and then set the note to say something like home, go home later today, and then the task, what happened, So something, let's see. Okay, so right now we have our DB, and when this function is being called, load to-dos, instead of sending them these to-dos that we have here, I think it actually makes sense that we actually send them a to-do from our own DB. Okay, before we actually do that, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, save all the changes we currently have, create a new branch to actually start working on this. So add our changes. Okay, basically I'm trying to create a new branch to actually start working on the new changes, so that if we have any issues on the way, we can actually revert back to previous changes. Let's see how that works. I think that's much better way to actually do development, so that you don't have to mess up your main branch or your current branch with better stuff on it. So add block states. I'm going to push this upstream. I'm going to say git push to push this upstream, and that is actually pushed upstream. Next, I'm going to say git check out dash b for new branch, and this branch will be called start feed isa dash db. Add isa dash local db. Yeah, there you go. That's a new branch we just created right away, and we could just start working on this. So this is going to basically send get all the to-dos that the user currently have and send it over to the user. We can actually say something, so I'm going to go ahead and comment this out, the hard-coded code that we added. So comment it out and then say return. So basically return return db. Say final. What did I actually do there? Say final isa is equals to await db. There you go. This should be marked asynchronous. Yeah, there you go, and that fixed that. And now db, not a function, come on, await db and return. So basically over here I'm going to say isa dot correction. So isa dot courses, or let's say isa dot to do list or to do models, not the list, but basically the models. To do models dot where, and then get find all to return all the to do models. And this is going to throw some errors because we are returning a type of to do model, and this function right in here is actually expecting a to do entity in this way. So this the model is actually expecting, because this is the one we were working with. So to be able to fix this, okay, maybe you can actually use this as a collection and then return the same type of collection, or we could just go straight down to our app or code and rewrite the whole stuff that we actually did for the to do entity that's been returned from the DB or local DB or something like that. I think that should work also. Or we could just do that for our current model that we created. Use our current model, because it doesn't make sense that we I forgot about that. Since we already have this, we could actually have converted this to our entity and not the other way around. Let's see, I'm thinking out loud here what we could actually use. Okay, let's try returning the same, creating a new model here for our entity, and then right now we can just format our code. Once we get everything working, I think actually that's the best way to actually be able to work with this. And I could just say to do should be underscore entity dot, and this, since it's actually the same stuff that we have here, and just go ahead and copy this off and then paste it right in here. Then at the top of it, I'm basically go ahead and say add collection, and then before that I'm gonna say there should be path of to do underscore entity dot g dot that. There you go. So to do underscore entity dot g dot that. And what else do we need to actually achieve right in here? So these are to do model. So we made it a collection. In here, basically go ahead and remove the ID. Add this final to-do list. Yeah, it only links to one to-do list. And next stuff you can actually go ahead and do. So you have this ID property right at this point. So I have notes. So let's try this out, and I'm going to go ahead and run the same command that we ran before. Redis okay, now we have this generated, and then we can just use this and return that within our repository, db repository right in here. So instead of to do models again, I can just go ahead and return to do, not to do models, but basically to do entity. Okay, this is going through, giving us some errors. Come on. Come on. Okay. Yeah, we fell into a rabbit hole right now, trying to figure out what we are doing wrong right here. Let's see. Yeah, that fixes the problem. So right now we're going to return yeah, this to do override the method in a proper way. So we'll go ahead and delete this other path. Yeah, get this deleted, move this from what we have. So I'm going to say load to do's, and once we cannot wait for the DB, then we just see aside to do's entity where to find all and return all to the user. And if we can go ahead and restart this, it should run. Okay, let's close that. Then open up, run our app again. Okay, it's telling me there's a bug everywhere. Where did we have the bug? Okay, now we have a problem. All this stuff are throwing an error that we have to actually go ahead and fix. So the first one, So we're trying to fix our errors that we're having right now, and the errors are basically coming from what the hell, down, where do we get to that path? We don't need the ID to be added from the constructor. We can, so we're already creating that automatically by SRDB, so we have to remove that path. And next, okay, let's remove this section. That will fix the issues. Yeah, there you go. Let's see what else we need to do. So that's fixed. Next, in here, in our repository folder, so let's go ahead and start with the local repository. Await, and it's looking for us to get this to do repository, but we're no longer using that entity anymore. We changed to a new entity. So let's go ahead and import that one. This is the one we are going to be using, yeah, from the models itself. So go ahead and save this path. So that's fixed. Which one is the web client? So the same thing applies to the web client. So once we modify the entity file, this means that this goes away. We are left with this part. So basically we have to do loaded, start with this, passing to do from entity, let's try running this again. We made a lot of changes, but let's see if this is going to open up. I'm gonna like run. If not, we're going to go ahead and maybe move most of the stuff we currently have, because we are currently using the previous code whereby we are storing our to-dos locally on the app. But okay, let's see. Buy food for that kitty, and okay, that still works. Wait, no, that's not working. So it's basically using our to-dos from where again. It's basically using web client, because this web client buy food for that kitty, and this is coming from to-do models. Okay, that's it. Next, but currently in our current to-do storage here, nothing is being returned because it can't find anything to return within our app. That's why it's returning this is using the web client for that. Because if you take a look at the repository that we have here, our repository is saying that okay, load, when this load to dos is being called, go ahead and return and wait for db storage.load to dos, and if there's an error, go ahead and basically use a web client. But let's print the error out first to see what happens here. Let's say E. So I'm trying to print out the errors. So let's test this out. Come on. Okay, let's try this again. Errors here, no shake operator used on a null value. Okay, let's see. We did something wrong somewhere. Yeah, let's see. Okay, open db. Let's see if this function is actually being called. Let's say print. Come on, this should be a string, so I'm gonna say called db. There you go, called db right in here. At the end over here. Over here, I'm gonna print a message also. In this case of doing the same print, I'm gonna copy this, print it here at the moment. So we are just kind of like playing around inside our code base, trying to figure out some stuff. See if we can actually get this code working. Notice we are missing something, so I'm gonna just say print called db. Go ahead and save this and then restart our app. So we are having an issue. The issue being that this path is not being called. We're not getting up to this path, so we are checking if ISA instance names. We're checking if it's empty. Okay. Set of instance name that is empty. Return await isa.open to do model schema, to do list schema. Okay, we are missing another one, another schema to do entity schema. I think that's the case right there. Yeah, I currently have 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that worked, so that's cool. Yeah, so we actually finally be able to test this and see if it works. So right now we are returning, this is returning an empty to do to us. So actually is kind of, we had some marathons trying to get stuff to work with, getting our ISADB hooked into the app, connected into our app, and creating a repository, abstracting everything about the DB from the main app. So we got that working, and I think it's okay. Found this instance, okay, which worked. Future list to do entity, okay. Transition, current state, okay. See, all to dos here, and all to dos are empty, so there's no current to dos at the moment, so that makes sense. So let's go ahead and try to see if we can actually be able to create a to do. I'll go ahead and remove this code that we have here. Guys, do any of you know what the World Cup match is, the score is currently at? Let me actually take a look. So the first half is currently at 0-0. Okay, let's go ahead and continue what we're doing right here. So we're able to return our to-dos, but it's currently returning an empty to-dos at the moment. Yeah, that's expected. Okay, open, save to-dos. Let's rerun this again, and there goes our to do is currently opened. So let's go ahead and save to do, and when this function is being called, we're not going to throw this error on implemented error. Basically what we are going to do is go ahead and print whatever is being given to us right in here as a to do to save. So for now, we are just going to emulate the future, basically the asynchronous function, and then return future.value.true at the moment, because we just want to list this and see what is being given to us to save. And we need to actually change this function. Yeah, we need to change this function that we have right here. So it should be called save to do and not return. When we are calling save to do, we should not be given a list of to do to save. Basically, it should be a particular to do that they want us to save, not a list of whole to do's to actually save. So let's go ahead and try this. So in our app, so far in our app, we should be inside the main view where we are playing when we are doing the to-dos, custom to-dos, and inside the custom to-dos, we have our test form field. In here, we are calling add block dot add to-dos dot add whatever to-do that is being given to us to add to our database. So let's go ahead and see if this is being called. Yeah, that was working. So they kind of like printing out, it's kind of like printing out a list of to-dos that's been given for us to actually go ahead and work with. Yeah. There we go. So that's what is being given to us, but that's not basically what we want to do. We want to actually save only one particular to do. We want them to actually give us one particular to do to save. Looks like we need to add expand. We need to multiply our class, our abstract class on its own. So we should be the repository class, no? Not the local repository class. Yeah, to do repository class in here, I'm gonna have another function. It's going to be future. Say save to do's. Future that needs a to-do entity to be passed to it, just a single to-do entity, and I'm going to call that to-do. That's all we need. Save to-do. It's been called save to-do. I'm going to save this. Now all the classes that implemented it or extended this needs to implement that same function. I'm going to need to add it. For now, it's going to be unimplemented. Leave it this way. And next one, I'll just say return feature dot value dot true in here. There we go. And next, okay, so once we return that, next one that implemented that function should be key value storage. We need to do that also in here. Basically over here, instead of showing an unimplemented error, I'm going to basically return a future, and the value of the future is going to be true, saying that the future completed and not that the future didn't fail. Okay, and then the next one is the repository, which is over here. And inside that repository, so over here is saying save to do's, is passing all these stuff to us. In here, we're going to say save to do, passing basically return future.await, almost the same stuff we have in here, and then change some stuff. So local storage, do this, and local storage just save to do Where's the one our local storage to start with? Yeah, it should be to do, not to do's. Local storage will save to do, not to do's, but to do. And then also passing db storage dot save to do, pass to do to it. There we go. I think that's all we need. What else are we looking to implement right in here? Now, instead of db storage, we need to fulfill the same protocol by basically implementing the same method that it needs us to implement. But right in here, so showing an error, I'm going to basically print the to do. I'm going to say this. We are going to say this is, or this is the to do. Yeah. There you go. And then at the end, return feature dot value, set that to true. There you go. And let's go ahead and try this. Then in our app, within our to do block right in here, so that to do block, we're basically going to say once add to do's event is being called, inside our to do's block, when there's an event for add to do's, we have load to do's, add to do's. When that event is being called, add to do state. Instead of saying updated, all this stuff, we're going to just get a particular emitted to do state and then emit it by saying to do's the load and all those stuff, and then call await save to do's, which is going to call our to do repository function, which is right in here. Open this, save to do's, so I'm going to say save repository. Yeah, so this is going to say save to do, and we're going to say our to do repository, not a list of to do but a single to do, and just name that to do repository.save to do, and then passing the particular to do that we want to save. In this case, just save to do, and that's all we need to do. Let's say to do dot to do dot on entity, return an entity in this form, and call this function right at the top over here, save to do, passing the updated to do, which is in this case a list of to do's, but that's not what we want to do. Basically pass the current status load, to do's loaded dot to do's, event dot to do. Go, and this should work right now. So let's go ahead and try this before saving anything to our database. So right in here, before saving anything to the database, let's try new to do. Yeah, and that worked. Yeah, that worked right here. So it says to do complete false, task new to do here, note new to do here, id is currently empty. That's fine. So once this is actually showing us in our to-do repository, so let's go ahead and start saving this into our database, because currently right now we can get access to it, and we are sure that this is being returned. The current to-do is being returned to us. Let's actually confirm this. Wait a second. So this is to do here, to do entity. Okay, it's to do here, to do entity complete false. Okay, new to do ID is basically this is the ID that's been generated for our to do. Okay, nice one. What else? Okay, we have this ID. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. So right in here, once a to-do is being called for us to save, we're going to basically inside our DB storage, go ahead and save that to-do. I'm going to copy some code that's going to help us to do that. Or we could just say, just like a print to do. After printing out to do, I'm going to say final SR is equals to await DB, mark this to be asynchronous, SR.await DB, and so this returning future.true. I'm going to say return SR dot write contract, so write contract synchronously, and this is going to require a function in it. And the callback function that is expected is going to run SR dot to do entity, to do entities dot put sync, dot put synchronously, which will be to do put synchronously to do, and close this off right in here. Go ahead and save that, and then restart our app again. Let's try this. And this worked because we didn't receive any error at our own end. So let's restart our app and make sure this actually worked. So I'm going to say restart, and there you go. So if you restart the app again, we always have a to-do that's been returned to us. Okay, that's actually working. So we finally got a way to persist our to-dos in a local database that we got so far. So you can actually see that it's been persisted immediately. So even if we take a look over here, so even if you restart our app right now, so let's go ahead and restart the app again, you will see that this to-do is now being persisted in our DB. So restart this. You see, we always end up with a to-do currently in our DB. So right now we are able to save it to do inside our database. But let's take a look inside our database and see this. So inside our database, created a database somewhere here. Chrome. Where is it? I thought I added a Chrome browser right in here. We should have a Chrome browser somewhere. Because with the Chrome browser, we can inspect our DB and see what's in there for us. Okay, looks like I have to bring another one. So there we go. Okay, so let's go paste this, now this URL. Got this URL right somewhere here, so I'm gonna copy this. Paste that somewhere here. No, it didn't copy, so we need to copy that. There we go. You can actually be able to visualize our DB. Okay, let's see if we have something to do entity. So we have something in to do entity, and you can actually see that somewhere here. This to do is currently not linked to any to do list. That makes sense because currently right now we haven't created that connection to any to do list at the moment, but we are going to create that connection later on. But you can actually see there's nothing is going on here. It's not being linked to any to do at the moment. So let's see what we can actually do. And there is the hash code, and the ID is currently this. And what else are we missing? Yeah, so now you can actually see how to create a to do and have that being persisted inside our to do list right in here. There you go. Let's add more to dos. Visit home today, enter, and you can actually see that immediately being persisted inside our app. The to do is being created immediately within our app. That's cool. I can actually say try finish eating today. Yeah, immediately it's responding. You can actually see more. The to dos have been added one after the other, and this is a to do working here. Hit enter key, and that will be added immediately. Also, I can actually see that created within our app, so that's cool, that's nice. Let's see if there's something else we are missing. Okay, we are able to add a to do. What about if you want to remove a to do? Because we currently can't remove a to do from the DB at the moment, and we can't remove it to do in our app. I'm trying to see what else we can actually do after completing after this one is successful right now. Yeah, adding it to do is successful, persisting it in the database is successful, which you guys can actually see if you restart this. It's still being persisted inside the app, nothing changes. That's cool. Right now, okay, I think it's time to actually try creating lists, because lists, we are not creating lists at the moment. So what we could do is that we want in a situation whereby the user opens the app for the first time, they should be able to see two lists created. So the home is a list, and today is actually a list. Is it? We have a home list. Okay, to do today list. Today list is basically list to dos that are currently not added to any list. I think that makes sense. Yeah, home list, and then we have today list. Today list will be there, so we don't need to create these two lists. Okay, that makes sense. We don't need to create these two lists. It should be there within our app. Yeah, and today list also should be there within our app, because the user can decide to click here and then add to dos within any of these lists. Okay, today list will not contain any to dos, but home list will contain to dos, because today means all the to dos that is going to expire today, or all the to dos that is going to that's almost done today should be inside today list. The home list should be basically all the to dos that doesn't currently have a list should be inside the home list. Then we then have all these lists showing up over here. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's try creating list. Instead of app, create another function somewhere here. So that's that from the to-do repository. So you should currently have a function to load the to-dos. We have function to save to-dos, and we also have function to what else? A function to save a single to-do, but we don't have a function to actually load all the list. So let's go ahead and add a function. I'm gonna say future load list. This should be implemented later on, but what is it going to return? It's going to return a list of type to do list. Yeah, a list of type to do list. That's basically what it's going to return to us. There you go. Now most of the apps, most of the repository is going to go ahead and implement this. So this start with this first one. The web client needs to also implement this. Where is it? Yeah, so web client, we need to implement this. We leave it this way at the moment. Next one is our key value per DB. So you have a key value per DB storage. In this case, if we are using shared preferences for our app, this is where this comes in play. So our key value per needs to create that method, which is somewhere here. We're not going to touch it at the moment because we are not going to use our key value pair. We are basically using our DB, normal DB, and our normal DB needs to go ahead and create that, our DB storage, create that missing function. So this is where we need to do some stuff, but before that, our repository, main repository, needs to create that function also, or the abstract function from our abstract class. So in this case, when the user says load list, when the user says load list, what we need to do is basically going to return a feature that's basically going to call all the data layers or data repositories that we currently have. So we're going to say feature.await. Where is it again? Feature.wait. Is that the correct spelling? Okay, I think I got it wrong. Yeah, feature.wait of type, dynamic type. In here, so I'm going to say local. So local storage and all this going to load. Basically return. Say load list. Do the same for other ones also. So this should say load list, not save list, but load list. Same applies to this load list. Wait for this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. Try with try cache. Basically say return our normal DB, because that's the main database we're using, our normal DB. Wait, is synchronous. Close this off. Do not pass anything inside it, but if there's an error, go ahead and run web client load list, and if something goes on and it tries to call web client is going to throw an error, basically. Yeah, because we haven't implemented this load list method inside web client. So but we know that nothing will go long in load list. Yeah, that's what we are thinking, that nothing is going to go long here. And now in here, let's go ahead and implement this section, to-dos repository. Okay, yeah. Now let's go ahead and start implementing this function that we just created inside our DB storage, which we currently have somewhere here. So we want to load a list, but we currently don't have. We know there's nothing inside our list, but let's go ahead and return any stuff that we can actually find in there. It should be the same way we did over here. Just go ahead and copy the same code. Basically copy everything, just do some 1 or 2 changes to it, and there we go. So this should be async. So async final is load list. I'll wait for DB to do, should be to do list dot where the find all returns all the list that we need. And if this function is being called anywhere, but right now we are not going to actually see any stuff being returned because we haven't created a block for it. So we need to create a block the way we created for to-do block, to-do state, to-dos and all those stuff, for creating our list and all those stuff. So let's try that and see if we can actually complete that before moving to any other stuff. Looks like the World Cup between Argentina and Mexico is going to end in draw, and if this ends in draw, so Argentina is actually leaving the World Cup. Come on. And I actually wanted them to stay. Let's see. So inside our to-dos, inside our blocks, let's create a list block. They should say list block. There you go. Now inside the list block, so basically the same method we actually be throwing right here. I think we should actually start with the state, creating the list state, this underscore state dot there you go. And now we can then just see what else we need to do inside the state. So we need a state. What method we need? We need a state to actually have a loading state and list loaded, and also we want to also have not loaded and list loading. This is my cheat sheets. I'll just go ahead and copy this, basically to make the work faster. Copy that code, paste it in here. then go ahead and start changing some stuff that I need. So I'm going to say list states. Okay, we have to-dos. We have to-dos loading to-dos list. No, should be called to-do list. Yeah, I think that should be a good name. To-do list. To-do list state implement equal table. There you go. Constant you have this. Nice. And then to-do list state, this extends to-do list states, and it should say to-do list loading. Yeah, to-do list state, to-do list loading. And then we also have to-do list state. It should be called to-do list loaded. To-do list loaded. When it says loaded, it's going to return a list of what again? A list of to-do list. It's going to return a list of to-do lists. I'm gonna call this to-do list. It should be somewhere in here. Okay, what else do we need to do? To-do list state, to-do list loaded, and this should say to-do list loaded. Yeah, to-do list loaded in here, and likewise this should say to-do list, and this should just call to-do list, and this the same stuff, to-do lists. And last but not least is this section, to-do list state, to-do list, oh no, to-do list not loaded. There you go. Is there any other stuff that we're missing? To-do list not loaded. Go ahead and save that. We are good to go. So what else, where else are we going to go right now? So after creating the state, which is 3 states, either the to-dos are currently loading, or the to-do lists have been loaded, or the to-do list is not loaded. Maybe an error occurred. That's what we are going to say, to-do list not loaded, something like that, or something else happened. Then after that, we are going to just go in here, create to-dos events. I'm also going to copy the same stuff and just do some minimal changes to it. This should be to do, basically name the list underscore event dot that. There you go. Then copy the code that we currently have. Yeah, to do events. Yeah. Still do the same stuff that we did to the to-do states that we created. I'm going to paste the code in here and start fixing this up. So I have an abstract class named to-do list event. It's going to extend equal table. This is called to-do list event. Load to-dos. This is going to be called load to-do list. To-do list event equal table to-do list event. Load to-do list, and this extend to-do list event. There you go. So load to-do list, load to-do list event, add to-do list, extends to-do list event, which is going to have something called to-do list entity. go. To-do list, add to do, and we need to pass in to-do list. Okay, this is kind of like getting confusing. Try to keep my head up and see. Yeah, and then need to replace this right in here. Yeah, I think the add event is actually completed. So add event is called add to do list, extend to do list event. We have this add to do list, passing a list that we want to add. Okay, yeah, what else? The update to do, call this update to do list, and then update to do list event. Yeah, list event, to do list, update to do list. So I actually have to make sure that we are not doing something wrong here, else we're gonna have our code filling after all this stuff. And okay, to-do list event, to-do list, update to-do list, passing it list, updated to-do list. Okay, update to do, updated to do list. Yeah, this one should change also, I think. Okay, the next one is delete to do, because you can actually be able to delete the list that we have also. So we have to figure out a way to do that. Delete, so that should be delete to do list. To do list event. There you go. And this should be to do list. To do list. This just saying to do list, passing to do list, next to do list, this to do list. Do we miss anything? Delete to do list event, to do list, to do list, to do delete to do list, this dot to do list. Okay, to do list and to do list. Clear completed, extends to do list event, to do list event, clear completed, toggle on. Okay, let's see, is there any other stuff we're missing? So we can actually go ahead and save this. Next, we have to work on the list block. Create list underscore block dot, and the block is still going to be the same as to do block, except that some few things that's going to change, not much. So let's start with that. This name will start with this path. Just having a fast way to do stuff. So this should be saying list block, and yeah, import this from flutter block, and yeah, this should be saying to do list event and to do list state. I'm pretty sure that's what it should be. And then to do list event. That's cool. So copy this off, and in here just start implementing all the functions that we need. Okay, so I should have a helper here that is also going to help us to do this. So first of all, it should look like this. Should I just copy the whole stuff and then fix some stuff that shouldn't be there? So we need a to-do repository that we need to talk with. It could be our DB repository, our key value, which is shared preference repository, or just talk with a crowd-based web client or something like that. So that's what we need the repository to be there, and this repository will be passed in when this is being created, and the super will start being to-do list loading. Yeah, that's the first stage. The first stage will be to-do list loading, and the next event, when there's a to-do list load to-do list and not load to-dos. Is that what should be there? Okay, load to-do list. Yeah, I got that. So that should be there. Once there's an event for unload to-do list, what we need to do is to basically go ahead and call all this stuff, and that should be final. Wait for the repository load list. Okay, yeah, load list. That's it. And once that is done, emit an event. But for now, we're going to uncomment all this part out, and then we have add to do list. When that has been called, we can have a function like this, but I think we just uncomment this out also. We can just know where we are at the moment. Go ahead and save this. Nothing else we have to do. I think we just completed the whole path. Yep. Except we need to have a field that's going to export all this stuff. And in here, I'm just going to say export dot slash to do block. Do the same export dot slash to do event export dot slash to do state. Wow, Argentina have scored. Lionel Messi have scored goal. Wow. Guys, Argentina scored in the match. I don't know if I have any Argentina fans on the stream. I'm actually quite happy right now. Okay, Lionel Messi scored one goal for Argentina. Let's hope that they actually keep this one and not mess it up. Let them hold on to it. Okay, let's go over to the what we are doing. So we have a way to export all this stuff, and except we are not going to export the file that is exporting the whole files. So it doesn't make any sense to export that file that is currently exporting the whole files. So let's see how we can actually use this. That should be within our run app or main app. I can actually say run app. So wait a second. So over here, okay, I see. And then instead of run app, let's see. Block provider, to do block, team block. So we already have a team block and we have a to do block. Next, I will just go ahead and pass in, create another provider somewhere below here, and this will be called list block. There you go. It's called list block. So within our list block, context, okay, should be list block. Then pass in the repository that we want, and we are going to call .add load to do list. That's what we need to be called. And once we call that, what else do we need? Yeah, I think that's all. Go ahead and save this. So you can actually find a place to use this within our app. So right now, if we go straight inside our app, so let's go to the main view. Within our main view, or we should go to the app bar. So where do we actually create the for the app bar? This is our sidebar. Okay, sidebar. Within our sidebar, I'm going to wrap this animated builder. Do we need to wrap the animated builder? We need to wrap the animated builder, or just okay, the animated builder. I'm thinking out loud here. I mean, the one that contains all the lists or the list for all our stuff here. Maybe I could just wrap the list view. Maybe we could just wrap list view with a builder, and this builder will just be a builder of type sheets. Just go ahead and copy the same stuff that we have here. No need of thinking about it. Just copy it and put it in here for our builder, because that's the builder we want to use. Then just change one or two stuff. It's the same block builder, so you're going to use the same block builder. Where is it? Yeah, okay. And this will just be list block, not something else. So this will be list block. To do state, list block. Yeah, I think that as well. And this will be to do list states. Okay, we made a mistake. Okay, so this will be imported. Both of them should be coming from the same place. So list block and list states. I don't know if that's what we called it. No, not to do list. List to do list state. Okay, we called it to do list state. So that's the state that we're going to be listening to. And within our sidebar, so there we go, our sidebar should be this, and now this should be get from the same place. Yeah, that solves it. And now in here I'm gonna say active list state basically returns all the list. So since this is like this, okay, now we have an issue right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart this. Yeah, the error goes away, so we no longer have the same error any longer. But what I'm going to do is basically I think that function is actually being called a function that loads a list. Okay, yeah, it's been called load to do list, and let's see if something is being returned. Probably nothing, because we don't have anything within it at the moment. And we could just go ahead and start working on that aspect, whereby you can actually make sure that we are returning something. Or if there's no list to return, we could just return an empty. Okay, load list, which is this, is being called. If this is being called, it should return an empty list. And how do we know if we are returning an empty list or we are returning a list, guys? So how do we know if we are returning an empty list or we actually return a real list? We actually print it out to see what is being returned. If nothing is being returned, so let's go ahead and do that. So right somewhere here, let's fix. Okay, I'm gonna say print, or just do, okay, let's just do a print statement, active list. Then actually add this inside the if statement. Yeah, so active list, that, like we said, is if active list is to do list loaded, because I'm pretty sure we have that. It should be list states. If the list state is to do list loading, do nothing. Yeah, if it's to do list loading, yeah, there we go. Print, let's go ahead and print a statement to us. Come on, I'll just use a debug print. I think that much better yet. Debug print. So there's many ways to actually print in Flutter. You can use the log statement, or you can use debug print, or just use the print statement. But be careful when you're using the print statement. Print statement, you have to be careful not to allow it to be used within your production app code. So within here, I could just say it's okay. It's loading. Oh, what do we do? Yeah, it's loading lists. Then else if our active list is what? To-do list loaded, then we can get hold of the to-do list. It's to-do list loaded. Go ahead and print. Use the debug print statement. Should say list page loaded. There you go. So I could just go ahead and format this, save this, and give this a try. And let's see. Okay, we have that. Yeah, we have the console log saying it's loading lists, right? And next one, the next one is basically saying list loaded, list page loaded. Its loading list is actually called 52 times. That's insane. Or to do, yeah. Is page loaded, is not list page loaded. It's not called here. So let's take a look and see why that's happening. Okay, let's see. Should return 3 something. So this main screen, so the main screen is allocated. So we have a main screen right in here as a builder. To do's block, to do's states. Okay, if to do's is loading, if to do's is loaded. So go ahead and print stuff to us. Tell us that to do's has been loaded and do whatever. Within our DB storage, when this is being called, we say ASA dot equals to await DB ASA dot to do lists dot where dot find all. Okay, I think I figured out where the errors or the issues actually coming from. Wow, guys, it's actually 2-0 right now to Barcelona. Why did I say Barcelona? To Argentina. So Argentina is actually winning 2-0. That's cool. Looks like this is going to be a great night for me. So let's see what else we actually have to do. So let's say load list, right? So load list async, return load list to do list dot where dot find, or what else are we missing? And if that is the case for us, we should be able to update that inside our to-do block, list block, because inside our to-do block, okay, see, emit, when all this is done, emit to-dos loaded, and then else to-dos not loaded and all those stuff. So we actually have to do that, tell when to load to-do list is being called. So you can actually say emit to-dos list loaded, okay, to-dos dot map to-do dot from entity dot to list. Okay, that's where the issues comes in. We don't currently have this entity stuff they're actually talking about right in here, and to-dos loaded list is actually expecting, which is our state here, to-dos list loaded, something called to-do list and not an entity. Okay, it's expecting something called to-do list and not an entity. So if that is the case here, you can actually go to list block and say to-dos, which is this. We are not mapping to anything. Yeah, emit that. Else, if there's an issue, go ahead and tell us to-dos list not loaded and save this. Then if you restart this, yeah, you can actually see that list page loaded is called. That's cool. Says list page loaded. That means our to-dos list is actually loaded, but in this case it should be empty here, probably empty. If you want to see if it's empty, you can actually try that out by going to the sidebar screen, which is somewhere here where we are printing it out. We can say print. I could just say debug print or print. Which one? Still use the same debug print. Debug print. Within the debug print, I'm going to say active list dot to do list dot to string. Go ahead and save that. Nice. You can actually see that is printing an empty list, meaning that nothing is being returned because this list is currently empty at the moment because we don't have any stuff within it. So that's cool. You can see that being printed within the screen. That's nice. Next, which one are we going to do again? So what do we do this time around? We are able to kind of like visualize how our list is being printed. What if we can actually be able to see how to add a list and actually view the list at this top here. So let's go ahead and implement that function. So I'm going to say inside our repository, within our repository, within the to-dos repository. So we have a way to save lists, save to-dos, save the to-do, and load lists. We should have a way to also save a list. So I'm going to say fusion. List. No. I'm just a fusion called save list. So you have save list, which is the future, and it's going to require is a to-do entity, but it's going to require to-do list. Yeah, there we go. Now most of this needs to implement that. Which other one needs to implement it? Repository has to do the same also. Key value storage also needs to do that. So I have key value that needs to implement that, and that's done. So repository has to do that, do the same stuff, and we actually have to do the same way we did here. Okay, let's see. Right in here, save list. So we pass in a list and we call local storage dot save list. Do the same right in here. Alright, somewhere here. Save list. We need to pass in to-do list to it for it to be able to know what to save. There you go. Format the code, save this, and then let's work this. So DB storage should be somewhere at the top. Needs to implement save list. Now you have to figure out how to save a list in here. So it's almost the same way we actually did right in here, where we are saving a list. Now we are saving it to do, so we shall just have to do the same right here. So just async pass needs to be async, ASA write contract, write transaction synchronous should be to do list, the put sync should be to do list. And this should be only be called whenever we want to add a list within our app. And now if you go back to list event or list block, we're going to call this whenever there's on add to do list. Let's go ahead and copy the same function that we have here. We just need to modify one or two stuff. Now let's see what to modify. Add to do event, add to do list event, emit to do list state, and if state is to do's list loaded, go ahead and do this. Discrete final updated to-dos. To have a way to save the to-do, which should be a function called save to do, or just call it save to do list. Still need to actually take a look and refactor some of these codes. Currently I'm trying to get this to work, and then we can just refactor everything up again. Let's see, so in here, list block, underneath it, paste this code, passing it to do list entity Okay, we created a way to actually be adding to-dos, but we haven't created a method for it to be working, because we need to create an input that will actually allow us to add a to-do, to add a list within our to-do, which should be something like this input method right here. You can actually see how that looks. Should look something like this. Over here, have this for drop down. Then you tap on this to start adding a list and other stuff. So let's go ahead and add the inputs. So I'm gonna say within our sidebar. So this should be within our sidebar, right? Within the sidebar, custom So inside our main view, we have a test form field that we created previously. We are going to create a similar test form field just for testing stuff out, and if it works, so tomorrow we can just go ahead and sit down and just make some changes to our code and fix out some stuff. So this should be stateful widget, got that to be custom, custom input, custom list input, should return a row. Inside the row we have a children, inside the children we have this. just create a test editing controller. Call that to be input field, which is equals to test editing controller. I'll write in there. For that itself, so right here, go have a way to be adding the list and removing the list at this point here. So I'm going to go over here and copy the code that we use there for that. Should be the block should be named what again? So what did we even name the block? Okay, list block. We call it list block. And this needs to be imported from flutter block. I think the whole stuff is fixed. You should say lists block. Now just remove this section, replace that. Add to do list, and this should be called to do list. And this so what do we to do list need? Let's see. To do list being our variable right in here. What is it? It needs a name, it needs an icon, and needs an icon tag. Name, just name, say the name is personal. So that's how to actually add a list. And now we need to use this custom list input and add it somewhere within our sidebar. Here's our sidebar. So it should be somewhere. You have a list view, return a list view, tricky translate transform. Okay guys, our stream just stopped working right now on YouTube, and we have to stop here, but let's see if we can actually get this to show at the moment before we can actually call it a day. The issue we are facing right now, because we are using a list to list all the list view within our app, and to fix that we can actually wrap our list. So return the list, we can actually go ahead and return a column right in there, and then we can have a list, and then inside the list we can actually have a column right at the moment for now. Then later tomorrow we can actually sort this out. I'm just trying to be fast. Okay, we're having render box issues, but yeah, we can actually sort that out in our next stream tomorrow. But basically so far we just completed most of the stuff we wanted to do today, which is basically adding a database, which is a database to our app, and seeing how to work with the database, how to fetch data with it, and how to persist data from our app within a database. And yeah, so let's continue this tomorrow, and yeah. Let me see if there's something else we are missing. Yeah, except that currently right now the YouTube stream is off and it's no longer working, so we can just continue on just Twitch. So yeah, so guys, tomorrow let's continue, and probably again we're going to get some more stuff done. So the reason why most of the stream took long time today was because I'm trying to figure out how to work with ASADB, and I haven't worked with it before, and then trying to connect it within my app, all those stuff. It took time, and yeah, but finally we were able to set it up and persist our data, our database to our persist our to-do list to our database, and see how that works. And yeah, so tomorrow I think it should be more easy, and we should be able to do a lot of stuff tomorrow, complete a lot of stuff. And yeah, I think that should be it. And okay guys, have a nice day everyone. See you guys tomorrow, and thank you guys for joining. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel, and both on the Twitch, wherever you're working from, just follow me, and also on my other social media platforms.